Welcome to John Martin Talks, where we battle ignorance and apathy daily. The growing ignorance of just how special this experiment we call the United States of America is, and the apathy that we can't or won't do anything and everything to save her. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we got a great show for you today. We're going to start off with King Joe. Joe Biden is becoming king now because he is setting all kind of records about a president and official decrees. You might call them executive orders, but basically Joe Biden is running the entire country right now from the White House because the fact that they're having impeachment, which is going to start in a couple of weeks, and we're going to talk about the trial here in just a moment. All of this stuff, Joe Biden, don't worry, Joe Biden is in full command, maybe not of his faculties, but of the facilities of the United States government. We'll explain that. And then if we have time, we're going to talk about the impeachment process that is coming up. The manager of the impeachment, Congressman Raskin, he's the impeachment manager of the House. They delivered the one article of impeachment to the Senate chamber yesterday. But he says that President Trump, must be impeached to save the republic. Well, I didn't even know Democrats knew what the word republic meant. I still am not sure about that, but we'll get into that. But before we go any deeper, we got to get into Big Daddy Unlimited, otherwise known as BDU, our sponsor here. We're very grateful to come to you live every day, Monday through Friday, 8 o'clock Eastern, or as close as we can get to it most times. But in BDU Studios, Big Daddy Unlimited, the way to get to them and access them, they are your Second Amendment headquarters, is to, no matter when you're watching the show or where you're watching it, look above the video and you will see a description of our show. Scroll down on that and you will see a link to our sponsor, Big Daddy Unlimited, where you will get factory direct pricing shipped directly to your door at factory direct discounts. Also, thousands of other items, including not only swag, but tactical gear, amazing products, even protective gear while you still can get it, because some states are outlawing it. So check out Big Daddy Unlimited. They are your Second Amendment headquarters, because not only do they sell you great products, but they actually defend your Second Amendment rights on a daily basis. We also have patriotthreads.org. Apparel with a purpose. Check them out, patriotthreads.org. Remember the promo code for 20% off. It's JMT, the initials for John Martin Talks, JMT, patriotthreads.org. And they are exactly what their name says. They will sell you some amazing patriotic threads, and they can even help you with charity events. So check them out, patriotthreads.org. We also have Recoil TV. We're on their YouTube channel. We have 2 YouTube channels we're on now. Of course, John Martin Talks, spell it all the way out. And by the way, if you want to get a direct response from me, then put a reply on something or a comment on the YouTube channel, and I will get back to you, usually within about 10 hours of doing the show. Just depends. But I cannot respond. Now, we had over 1,000 comments on the various Facebook sites we were on yesterday. I'm not ignoring you. I'm locked up, man. I'm in jail. I'm in Facebook jail. And I still am waiting for the people to stand out in front of the Facebook headquarters in California and say, free John Martin. But I can see what you're saying. I appreciate it a great deal, but I cannot respond to it. So if you're looking for a response from me, go to our YouTube channel. But Recoil TV is everything to do with the Second Amendment as far as demonstrating the newest weaponry coming out, even older stuff, how to use it. They have all kind of video, and they archive our show on there, and we greatly appreciate it. But I want to read you this because we are determined here at John Martin Talks with our sponsors like Big Daddy Unlimited. We are determined, to stay in the public square and to keep this show going through thick and thin, because believe it or not, a lot of shows like ours, if you are a conservative voice out there, let alone somebody who supported Donald Trump, you are under the gun and they are trying to wipe us off the air, and we need your help to do it. But what you're going to have to do as a patriot is you're going to have to put a little extra effort into supporting shows like ours. Like I tell you all the time, not everybody can be a fighter, but everybody can support those of us in the fight. So here's how you can continue to watch our show no matter what. Due to the move by big tech to deplatform conservative free speech, we'll be moving John Martin Talks to a new secure platform so that we can continue to broadcast. That is literally being built as we speak. Please download the Recoil TV app found in the same link as I told you about our sponsorship. Right now it's available on the Apple Store and Google Play, but you never know how long that'll be. In addition, you can go directly to johnmartintalks.tv, johnmartintalks.tv, to see all of our episodes archived. We're not currently broadcasting live there, but the show is up every day, and you continue to watch our show. As my friends here say, we are the voice of freedom. So remember, www.johnmartintalks.tv. Now let's get into the meat of the show here. We're going to do a couple of Breitbart articles here. They've been doing a pretty good job. Rule by decree. Joe Biden sets record for executive orders in his first week. I think he's actually up to 33 executive orders by this time. He signed a couple yesterday, and we might talk about them. But the article it's hard to keep an article updated with Joe Biden and executive orders because he's literally signing them in his sleep, I think. But there you have it. Look at that picture right there. That is Joe Biden. I believe that was on his very first half day in office. Right after he got inaugurated, he had a stack almost head high there of executive orders he was signing. That's literally his first day. And I mean, when it comes to champions of executive orders, there is no, I mean, Joe Biden is literally in a class by himself when it comes to that. And I'm not saying that's a good thing. President Joe Biden has issued more executive orders in his first week in office, not yet complete as of writing, than any of his 45 predecessors. In fact, in the last couple of decades, he signed more executive orders than all of them combined literally on their first couple of days. I mean, in a way, I guess you could say that Joe Biden is doing what he said he would do. Promises made, promises kept. It's just not quite as good for us as the promises made, promises kept of President Trump. And boy, do we miss him already. We miss you, Donald. I'm sorry, sir, but I just got to tell you, JMT misses DJT, man. I hope you're watching the show. Now you might have time to watch the show. Check it out. I'd love to interview you sometime. I'm serious about that. I try to be seriously entertaining, but when it comes to President Trump, man, I would love to interview. So you're out there watching, anybody that has connections, tell him about old JMT and Billy Bob Bass, my psychic sidekick here. He has a Twitter handle, by the way. It's at Billy Bob Bass 1, and mine is at John Martin Talks. And as I say, we are determined to keep into the public square. We're on places like MeWe, Rumble, BitChute, all kind of stuff. We were on Parler. I guess we still are, but it's out there in the ether land, right? But promises made in a sad sense by Joe Biden, promises kept. Nobody should be surprised that Joe Biden is so aggressive because he told us, I tell you all the time, take these progressives, and Joe Biden is not a moderate. He never has been, but he's certainly not one now for sure. And I told you back during the 2020 field when they had like 150, candidates up there. I tease, it was more like 30. But when they had them up there, I told you it didn't matter who won that primary. One thing we knew for sure, that whoever came forward and was the Democratic nominee, and I would not have bet it would have been Joe Biden, but it is, that person would be the most progressive candidate ever put forward by a major party. And I think I've been proven right, without a doubt. But Joe Biden told us in his own words, and we're going to play that video right now.
I think that, notwithstanding the fact, I think I have laid out the most detailed plans on the economy and on issues relating to health care and the rest of any president in modern history. I mean, it's awful detail. If I'm elected and this passes, I'm going to be good to go down as one of the most progressive presidents in American history.
Most progressive in American history. I still say the hardest job in America, probably the most underpaid person, is whoever is interpreting for the hearing impaired for Joe Biden. Because you can imagine trying to keep up with him and go, well, should I actually interpret what he said or what I think he meant, because they can be two different things. Joe Biden gave a press conference yesterday, by the way. And one thing you got to say about old Joe, man, he is a politician without a doubt. I mean, that's the only job he's really ever had. Go back and listen to, and you can wait till his next press conference. I don't think he's going to give that many, but his answers are total politics, completely different. I mean, he can't answer a yes or no question. It is impossible for Joe Biden to answer a question without just tons of platitudes and everything else. He was asked a question yesterday about the teachers union, which voted to stay out of work and get paid. They get paid. It's easy to vote. Hey, we'll just stay home and get paid in Chicago, even though they were asked or ordered by the mayor to go back to work. They voted to say, heck no. But Joe Biden was asked a straightforward question about that yesterday. Do you think the teachers should go back as ordered? And he went into this diatribe about the schools need to be sanitized and safe and masked. I mean, it was just a total political answer. And the press doesn't ask him a follow-up question. They just go, wow, we're back in the establishment swamp again and we're loving it. I mean, he's just not going to answer a question. But think about this. Joe Biden, when it comes to his, if you're a mentor situation, when you have a mentor, if you're a mentor to somebody, isn't it your pride and joy when who you're mentoring actually exceeds your expectations? Doesn't that give you a sense of pride if you're like a father and you're raising your son and he ends up being a better student or athlete than you are? Doesn't that give you a certain sense of pride? Well, I tell you what, if that's the case, which I think it is, Barack Obama should just be beaming right now, man. He should be on cloud 9 because his protege, Joe Biden, has learned well from the master. Because remember, when Obama said this,
I'm going to be working with Congress where I can to accomplish this. But I'm also going to act on my own if Congress is deadlocked. I've got a pen to take executive actions where Congress won't, and I've got a telephone to rally folks around the country on this mission.
Yeah, I can see Biden doing the pen thing because you don't know what he's writing down there. It might be anything, but he can write. I don't know, does he hold them up and show his signature like President Trump used to do? I mean, I don't know. The pen thing I get, but I don't know about Biden on the phone, to be honest with you. I'm suspect of that because Biden can't even be straightforward on a teleprompter. He'd have to have a teleprompter. Remember when he had that call to ask Kamala Harris whether she would be his vice president? Are you ready? He literally had cliff notes. He had ask her a book for dummies or whatever, So I don't know if Joe Biden would be very good on the phone. I remember, and I don't say this with any glee, but I remember when my mom began to slip, God rest her soul. She made it to 98, man. But we had to take the phone out because basically it would ring and ring and ring, or she'd pick it up and just go, and put it back down and just leave it off the hook. So we knew right then that we need to have somebody with her all the time. But that was one of the first indications. But can you imagine Joe Biden having a phone conversation with that dude, man? It'd probably just be a lot of heavy breathing. One of those. Maybe if that president thing don't work out, maybe he could do some of them 900 numbers or whatever where you just hear the heavy breathing. So I'm told. As of January 25th, 2021, Biden has issued 33 executive orders. And he may be issuing one as we speak, so that number could be coming up. Actions, proclamations, memoranda, and agency directives, according to CNN. So it has to be true, right? 21 of these, according to the White House website, are executive orders. So he's issued decrees, basically. He's issued. And so my first question out the box would be to Joe Biden, exactly, sir, how many jobs have you killed in the last 4 or 5 days since you've been president? It's probably in the hundreds of thousands now, right? But he signed this one he's bragging about, Buy America. He's going to create a new post in the White House about Buy America. And only the federal government can do that kind of, or any government, I suppose, just create positions out of thin air and they're doing that. So they're expanding government literally inside the White House. But how many jobs have you killed, sir? I mean, this Buy American Act, for instance, what good does, and I'm all for Buy American, believe me, but what good does it do to have a Buy American Act if there ain't nothing to buy? I mean, if all the factories are shut down, you can't even get a meal in a restaurant in places like California and all that kind of stuff. What is there American to buy? It's dying all the time. And what about America's energy costs? Because he killed the Exxon pipeline, which is from 11 to 60,000 jobs, depending on it. And the fact that fuel prices are already going up, let alone how much they're going to go up. And that oil, they're still going to sell that oil, snowflakes. It's not like Canada's going to go, well, we're just going to sit on this stuff. They're going to sell that oil, and it's going to go to China to make their economy better, and they're going to have to ship it over there, which creates potential for catastrophic environmental disaster if we have a tanker. You know, as I said yesterday, and you watch our show, by the way, podcast, several ways to do it. YouTube, our YouTube channel, it takes about 10 hours for them to repost the show. Check out that, johnmartintalks.tv, www.johnmartintalks.tv. Also, we're archived on America's Voice News. They are a great alternative to the mainstream media. America's Voice News, you can download free apps on your Android, your iPhone. They're on Roku, Fire Stick, Apple TV. They're on Channel 219, Dish Network, and Pluto Network. We don't currently have a live show on there now. We're working on that, but you can see our show archived along their streaming service, and we're greatly appreciated of that. But how many jobs has Biden killed? Well, again, promises made, promises kept, right? Because none other than President Trump warned us in the campaign after the last debate, I guess they had. President Trump warned us what would actually happen if Joe Biden, God help us, and God help us, has become president. Check it out.
One of the most stunning moments last night was when Joe Biden admitted that he wants to abolish the oil industry. That wasn't too good. Did you see him this morning? This morning, I didn't really mean that. I didn't mean that. That was the last question. They talked about that. I said, whoa, this is the big point of the evening. Remember, I said, well, do you want to get rid of oil and gas? Is that, yeah, well, we want to phase it out. I said, thank you. Texas, are you watching? Pennsylvania, Oklahoma, Ohio, are you watching? Now they're going around. Kamala is going around saying, no, we want to keep it. This woman is a super radical left. She's against fracking. If they get in, they'll end your energy independence. We have energy independence right now. They will end it very quickly. No, they're going.
Yeah, I tell you what, man. Do we miss you? I think I speak for millions of Americans. We miss you, President Trump, already, man. We miss you. I miss seeing him on TV talking at those rallies, and I've been to like 5 of them myself. They're a love fest. I look forward to one day going to another one. So, President Trump, you are sorely missed, my friend. You really are. But he's telling the truth right there. And he said, call out those states. Are they listening? I think they were listening. He won most of those states. He didn't win Pennsylvania. Now, I believe I can't even say it now. I got to be careful. Because, we can't say the F word on here. And I'm not talking about fracking. I'm talking about that F word. So I say mod. We know there was no voter mod in Pennsylvania. Without the mod, Donald Trump might have actually been the 46th president. I don't know. Are you 45 if you double it? I don't know. It's interesting to know that. But I believe they were listening, but they got overcome by Maud. Maud is a tough old gal, man. And, somehow we got to overcome the Maud. But I do believe they were listening. But he said that, he told us what was going to happen. And it's happened at lightning speed. Donald Trump in Warp Speed created, with his Warp Speed program, created the combating the virus with a vaccine. But he's nothing compared. What is beyond Warp Speed? Like ultra warp? I got to get back to my Star Trek roots and transwarp conduit. Because I guess what Biden is doing is creating one of those time things. Because, man, he is moving. I didn't know that old dude could move that fast, but he is moving to destroy the country at a rapid rate. President Donald Trump signed 4 in his first week, talking about executive orders, in 2017. President Barack Obama signed 5 in 2009. President George W. Bush signed none in his first week at 2001. And President Bill Clinton signed 1 in 1993, perhaps between, Lewinsky's or whatever. But basically, if you look at what Biden is doing, it's pretty obvious that we now are no longer American citizens because he is bypassing the legislature. And the legislature is controlled by all Democrats. And basically, the Supreme Court, if you look at the Texas case, which gave us the approval of voter mod and put Joe Biden in the presidency, I'm not so sure we can rely on them, can we? And you wonder why people might be just a wee bit on edge or upset, just a wee bit. I'm just saying, I'm not justifying anything. I'm only, but we're subjects of the dadgum realm. We're not rugged individuals. We're sheeple. Look at that. I mean, if that doesn't pretty much say what, because I think it was Tucker Carlson. No, it was Sean Hannity. I got to give credit where credit is due. Sean Hannity, which is him and Tucker, about the only thing I watch on Fox anymore. But, Newsmax is pretty. By the way, a message to Newsmax people out there. You need to put us on your Facebook channel at least. Give us a try. I know you're looking for shows. We're going to recontact you. Contact Play. And if you want to see us on something, not only let us know, but how about if you contact them and say, hey, why don't you put John Martin Talks on your show? Here's a good old boy down here that you really need to hear from. So I could use your help when it comes to that. But we're subjects of the realm. But anyway, Sean Hannity had this guy on there last night that was just laid off from the XL pipeline. He's a union guy, and Hannity kept trying to bring him to talk about the union actually supported Joe Biden. And he didn't really want to go there, but I'll go ahead and go there. If you're a union worker, and this guy was a welder, how do you feel about Joe Biden killing construction jobs? Now, maybe if you're part of the teachers union, it gets paid to stay home. See, one thing about it, these public unions, these government unions, they get paid sometime to stay home. Not so much if you're an iron worker or a millwright or an electrician in the union. If you're a construction union, you don't get paid to stay home. They might have little rainy day funds, but they don't last very long. But we are sheeple. We are becoming the sheeple. So if you're one of those unions out there that supported Joe Biden to kill your union member jobs, well, you ought to question that if you're one of those union members. And I'm not a big anti-union guy. I'm just saying, look at what your union people did to what they gave us. They gave you no jobs. Past presidents have defended the aggressive use of executive orders, they have, when the opposing party controls one or both houses of Congress. But in this case, Biden's Democratic Party controls both the House and the Senate, leaving few obstacles. Well, there was news that came out that they have maybe saved the filibuster. I've got mixed feelings about the filibuster. I kind of like it now, but I don't trust the Republicans. I think they'll ultimately cave in. They're pretty good at doing that. Certainly, old Turtlehead himself. You got a turtle head poking out, if you know the movie reference to that. Mitch McConnell, I call him Turtlehead. But here's one of the things that I see happening. Joe Biden, they're in a hurry. They're in a hurry. And one of the reasons that they're in a hurry to get all this done is because they know that the American people aren't paying a whole lot of attention now. Because let's face it, the average person, well, half the country don't vote anyway, right? So they're like ignorant and apathetic, and I'm battling that every day. Hope you tune. If you got somebody who doesn't vote, have them tune into the show, and I'll give them a good reason to. But and don't do this thing, you're never going to vote again kind of deal, because all you're doing is making the rest of us suffer under socialism. We've got it. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. We've got maybe an impossible mountain to climb. But if you give up, if like my hero Josie Wells said, the outlaw Clint Eastwood, Josie Wells said, if you give up, you neither live nor win. And so I'm with that all the way. But they're in a hurry because they realize that even the voters want a break from politics. I get that, and I breathe politics 24/7, and I'm probably obnoxious to some of my friends because I don't let them get away with a lot of BS. They put something. I tell people, don't ask me my opinion unless you actually want to hear it, because I'm going to give it to you. And don't just spew something out and don't expect me to respond to it. So, that's just who I am, man. The truth, as my friend at patriotthreads.org says, starts now. Remember, patriotthreads.org, one of our sponsors. Go there, JMT, for 20% off. Check it out. But a lot of people just want to break from politics. I get it. We just went through a bruising election. It was extended because of all the conflicts and whatever. I get it. I understand that you're ready to just, take a breath. But trust me on this. Progressives never, ever stop. They never, ever stop. Now, I'm not saying you got to match people like Ocasio-Cortez's energy and everything else. I'm not saying that. But you got to stay plugged in, period. Because if you don't, then we're going to fall. And we need to remember, a lot of people on the right, especially, if you want to call it that, conservatives, they tout the founding fathers quite often, as they should. And I tout the founding fathers here, but I'm going to tout one right now, Thomas Jefferson. And I'm paraphrasing it, but right there. But basically, he said, if you want to be both ignorant and free, you want what never was and never will be. And I translate that to mean that if you just think you can ignore politics, see, people all the time say, oh, I'm not interested in politics. And my first response to them, well, you know what? Politics is very interested in you, and they'll try to control you. So there's a reason why they're going with lightning speed, transwarp speed on all this stuff under Biden, because they realize that once you wake up and pay attention, you might not be so in favor of it, but by then you could be like the XL pipeline and be out of work and out of luck. So I'm telling you to listen to the founding fathers, and we still say fathers and mothers and brothers and sisters here at John Martin Talks. If you want to be ignorant and free, you want what never was, as TJ said, and never will be. So I'm battling ignorance and apathy on a daily basis. You need to stay woke, get woke, and plugged in. Truly woke, not that artificial nonsense woke. Earlier this month, while previewing Biden's first days in office, incoming Chief of Staff Ron Klain, you talk about a swamp rat, that dude is, told reporters that the new president planned executive orders would be, check this out, a restoration of the appropriate constitutional role for the president. Really? He don't look like he's got he's creating a total new role, something that we fought against. There it is, King Joe, Sir Joe. Oh, hell, King Joe, long live King Joe, man. But ladies and gentlemen, we do have some choices to make. We absolutely need to make some, and we need to realize that our founding fathers, once again, I go back to him, old Benny Franklin there, old Benjamin Franklin, he basically, when asked, what did you give us? He said, a republic, if you can keep it. If you can keep it. And let me tell you, it has never been, our republic, we've been post-constitutional for a while before Donald Trump even came on the political scene. But he actually exposed just how deep in it we are. And I've been saying this for a while now about, the frog in the pot deal, where the frog is like simmering. You put them in and simmer them, they'll boil and never jump out. You throw them in boiling water, they pop out. What Donald Trump exposed to me, for me personally, is that I was in the pot boiling and I didn't even know it. And I'm out the pot. I'm totally out the pot now. Thank you, President Trump. And guess what? I'm not jumping back in it. And don't you either. If you don't realize you're in the pot, wake the heck up. You're boiling. You've been boiling for a while. If you love this Constitution, you love the Republic, we've been boiling, you better jump out the pot. And now more than ever, this Ben Franklin meme is truer than it's probably ever been. And he said this with the Declaration of Independence. He said, we better hang together or we're surely going to hang separately. And if you don't believe that, man, then you hadn't been paying attention, because they're trying to hang us all separately right now. Literally and figuratively, they are trying to do it. They being the mainstream media, the progressive leftists, the never-Trumpers, the swamp rats on both sides of the aisle. They don't want the American people to wake up, or let alone stay awake. They want everything that Donald Trump exposed to be hidden back under the rock. They don't want you to see the rot that is inside the tree of liberty, because it is rotting right now. And if we don't take it, if we don't step up, no matter what Donald Trump does, because I've been telling you, and a lot of people don't like this, but I just got to speak the truth. And this is not a criticism of President Trump. As I told you, he has every right to ride off into the sunset and enjoy his life, his grandchildren, his kids, his great wealth. He has earned that right and then some. I don't predict that he will. I'm not sure what he will do. But I will say this. If the MAGA movement, if the America First movement was based solely on one man, no matter how great that man is, because remember what Charles de Gaulle told us, you look it up, snowflakes. He said that when he was asked about how's France going to live without you, when he was retiring as president after World War II, he said the graveyard is full of indispensable men. And that is exactly true. And women, if we're going to be politically correct. It's absolutely a fact. So I say that to say this. If MAGA and America First and everything that Donald Trump, the movement, and he even said this himself, if it is dependent on one man, and this is my caveat to it, then it was doomed to failure from the very start. He's awakened us. I'm out the pot. I, for one, am not getting back in it. Stay with me, and we got to keep fighting, because America is worth fighting for. And my greatest fear, I hadn't said this in a while, but if I say it, it bears repeating. My greatest fear when it comes to like the military is the fact that what if we become a country that is not worth fighting for? We have an all-volunteer force, and they're great. I'm not knocking them in any way. But what if we become a country where it's just not worth it? Then what happens? And you talk about our thin blue line. What if we become a country that's not worth serving anymore? What if a police officer looks at his wife or husband and kids and say, because they put their life on the line, they never know if they're going to come home. What if they just wake up one day and say, it just ain't worth it anymore? I mean, we're not too far from that. And with these executive orders and decrees from King Joe, we're going to move down that drain faster and faster and faster. And if you're okay with that, then hey, by all means, just go get back in your hammock and get comfortable. But if you're not, then you got to fight, and you got to support those of us in the fight. You got to spread this out far and wide. You got to share it everywhere you can. You got to contact different platforms to say, hey, you need to put John Martin Talks on there, and you got to support our sponsors like Big Daddy Unlimited. I told you how to get to them, Recoil TV and patriotthreads.org. And if you want to sponsor our show, remember the promo code 20% off on patriotthreads.org. Contact us, because we are in the fight, and we need people that are willing to support fighters. But one of the things that I tell you all the time is that we've got to educate, motivate, activate ourselves and others. And in some cases, we need to eliminate people. And I'm talking about by voting them out of office. Did you see how many Republican senators have announced, Portman, the latest one out of Ohio, that they're not seeking re-election? You know why? Because they know they're in trouble. And I don't know if you saw this, but Donald Trump pretty much came out and said he's not going to form a third party. I'm not necessarily holding to him that, but he sent a message to the Republicans that basically, if you screw me, I'm going to screw you twice as hard, because Donald Trump is a counterpuncher. And I'm putting words in his mouth. He didn't actually say that, so don't fact check me. I'm just giving you my opinion that Donald Trump is a counterpuncher. You hit him once, he's going to hit you twice as hard. So if you screw with Trump, prepared to be, because that's what's going to happen. All right, we got a few minutes left here in the show. We're going to move into another story here, and this is about impeachment. Raskin, who is the impeachment manager. This is a Breitbart article. He's that one of those masked men up there in the dark suit, I do believe. Raskin impeachment, he said this: impeachment is to protect the republic from Trump, prevent him from holding federal office in the future. Well, one thing about these swamp rat progressives, I've told you all the time, just take them at their word. And one thing about Trump derangement syndrome, they have been emboldened, especially now after the election. Who would blame them? They just tell you what they're going to do. Take them at their word. You don't have to guess. When Biden told you months ago that if he was elected, he was going to be the most progressive president in history, I never doubted it one time. When Chuck Schumer said that, first we take Georgia and then we change the world and change America. I never doubted it one single time. And when Nancy Pelosi said, well, we're likely to impeach the president, and she said this even before January 6th, again, I never doubted it one moment. Take these progressives at their word. I've been telling you, there are certain people I trust absolutely. I trust Donald Trump, absolutely. I trusted him when he was president. I trusted him when he was Citizen Trump before, and now Citizen Trump again, candidate Trump. I have a strong trust in Donald Trump. But I also trust a bunch of scalawags. Sometimes you can trust people because don't we all have friends that we know specifically what they're going to do? Do we won't loan them money because you know what's going to happen? That kind of thing. I'll give you a little list of people I trust. I trust Chuck Schumer. It's hard to say that 3 or 4 times. It's hard to even get that out your mouth, right? I trust Chuck Schumer 100%. I do. I trust Nancy Pelosi 100%. I trust this Raskins fella. I trust Ocasio-Cortez 100% because I know they're going to do exactly the vile things they said they were going to do. I really believe when Chuck Schumer gets up on the Supreme Court steps and saying, we're coming for you, Gorsuch and all, I believe that. Now, is that a threat? Is that insurrection? No, I guess not. Because there is no double standard. If you're new to the show, you may not have heard this, but if I say it, it bears repeating. But one of my axioms here, and I have a few of them, but one of them is there is no double standard. There's not a double standard. Because a double standard implies that there are 2 standards, right? There is a standard for us. We can be blown off of Facebook, put in jail, free John Martin, and they won't even tell you why. We violated some kind of community standard. And you try to ask why, and you get nothing. They read this, and I read it, and I go, I didn't think I did any of that. And half the people on the left do it all the time, and they're still up there, so I don't get it. But I accept algorithm, humble. I'm trying to stay in the public square, algorithm. I need to get you some of them cherries I didn't get you for Christmas, those chocolate cups, or maybe some of those soft pajamas. Maybe you need a MyPillow. By the way, we could use those guys sponsoring. But maybe I need to send that to algorithm because the algorithm is the most powerful guy out there, man. If you ain't met him, trust me, you don't want to. But I'm with you, Al. And Mark Zuckerberg, we trust. I mean, wow, it's crazy. But ladies and gentlemen, I need your help to stay on here. So we got to support those of us in the fight, right? We absolutely do. But this Raskin fella, let's get into this a minute. He is the impeachment manager, and he has literally admitted to you why they are impeaching Donald Trump. Oh, and by the way, let me get back because Billy Bob, he tells me all the time I got to stay on track. I trust all those people I said before because I believe that they're going to do exactly what they say they're going to do. So Chuck Schumer never really surprises me. Pelosi never surprises. The Democrats don't really surprise me at all. And you know who else? Let me tell you somebody. I'll give you somebody I don't trust that is a big prominent person. Never have, never will. I never have, nor will I ever trust Turtlehead Mitch McConnell. He is a slick swamp rat. Excuse me, if there ever was one. I don't trust that dude at all. Because I don't believe, I say I trust people like Chuck Schumer because I believe he's going to do exactly what he says. And it's vile. I don't want it. I don't support it. But I don't have any doubt that they're going to carry us as far to the left as they possibly can. What about McConnell? What can you trust about him? One thing you can trust is he's going to calculate what is in his best interest, not the country's best interest, but in his best interest. And that is what he's going to do because holding on to that power is all that matters, man. All that matters. At Kentucky, if you ever get a chance to get that guy out, please get him out because it'd be better to have 2 Chuck Schumers than 1 Mitch McConnell because at least, you know it's coming. You know what's coming. I mean, if you know somebody's a backstabber, I'd rather have somebody coming forward to me and slap me across the chops than sneaking up behind me and telling me what I want to hear as they're cutting my throat. I mean, that is what Mitch McConnell does. Anyway, let's get into this story a little bit. Lead impeachment manager, Representative Jamie Raskin, he's Democrat from Maryland, by the way, said Monday on MSNBC, or what do they say now? It should be MSDNC, all in that the point of that, I guess that's the show, that the point of impeachment, and that's a good name for them because they're all in for the progressives, period, man. That the point of impeachment was to protect the republic from former President Donald Trump and prevent him from holding federal office in the future. Protect the republic. I didn't even know the dude could spell it. Because we do have a republic, or we did, if we can keep it, like old Benny said. We may be losing it all. But can you imagine a Democrat saying that I'm for protecting the republic? They rarely ever say the word republic. They basically say democracy all the time. And I get a kick out of how they're going to say, for instance, we're going to protect democracy by impeaching the duly elected president of the United States the first time. I mean, they didn't respect democracy then. And now they're going to violate. They're talking about the republic. Well, at the center of the republic, of course, is you, the American people. But we're protected with our God-given rights, which that's what inalienable means, by the way, snowflakes. God-given, not man-given. Because what man giveth, man can take it away. You don't want man-given rights. You want inalienable rights. And that's what we have here if we can keep them. But we're protected by the Constitution. And in case you don't know this, the Constitution is not designed, our Constitution anyway, I guess I should be more specific, was not designed to enable government, to empower government, to not give the power of decree that King Joe seems to have right now. He's trying to set records and is setting records. 33 executive orders in his first 5 days. Think about that. I mean, he is just leaving Obama with the pen and the phone in the dust, man. But that's not supposed to be happening. And other presidents have been guilty to a certain. I'm not a big fan of executive orders, period, unless they're undoing past ones. That is maybe okay, but not killing John. Anyway, we could go down that rabbit hole. But they talk about protect the republic. The Constitution was not designed to empower government. Just the opposite. Our Constitution is designed specifically to protect the rugged individualist not groupthink, but the rugged individualist that our nation was founded by, to protect them from the overreach of government. Because if you look at it, the hardy souls that came across in those tiny ships over here, most of them were running away from an overreaching, overpowering government. So they knew full well, and that's why they put in the Constitution, by the way, that you couldn't try a citizen in the Senate. It's unconstitutional, but they're about to do it anyway because they don't give a tinker's hoot. I started to say something nastier, but my mama, she's gone, but she's still watching me. And they don't give a tinker's hoot about the Constitution, but they're going to say, whoa, protect the republic. Man, these people have the audacity of something. But Raskin went on to say, and this is the manager, the impeachment manager that was selected by Pelosi. She put also on the management team, she put old, the guy that had sex with Fang Wang or whatever. I can't even think of it. Oh, yeah. I'll think of it in a minute, but y'all will chime in and tell me. But the dude from California, man, the guy that has had an affair with a Chinese spy, man. I mean, she put him. So China, Zing, he got somebody on the management team. But Raskin said, we intend to show the worst presidential crime against the republic in American history. Talking about the attack on the Capitol, I guess. The violence was terrifying and overwhelming. It was terrifying. I'm not downplaying it, but 5 people died. Police officer hit over the head with a fire extinguisher. Police officers beat up and grab, push, shove, and jostle. But the thing is there any actual... Oh, it's Swalwell, I meant to say. Eric Swalwell. But Billy Bob popped it in my head. We got a psychic connection. Eric Swalwell. It's hard to swallow just how well that guy's connected to China. But is there any evidence that Donald Trump incited violence? I mean, I played you, for instance, a tape, and we're not going to play it right now, but multiple times of old Cory Booker back when he was running for president. He said, go to the Capitol right now and get up in a congressman's face. Donald Trump didn't even say anything that even compares to that. He said, go to the Capitol and protest peacefully. Just the opposite of incitement. And they got no witnesses. as our congressman from Florida, great Congressman Mast, said in the impeachment vote, he said, have you called any witnesses, any of these people you've arrested, to ask them that they were incited by Donald Trump? And it was crickets, man. Crickets, total crickets. Well, we got a couple minutes left. Let's keep going here. But Raskin said, one thing that I want to point out is that impeachment is not so much nearly about the past as it is about the future. So he's all about the future. I'm going to play a video. We're going to skip down to this because I think this is important. I want to play Ocasio-Cortez talking about, now this is the first impeachment. Check it out, what she says is the reason to impeach Donald Trump the first time. Check it out.
Congressional delegations, or rather in foreign trips. I think that all of this is game for investigation, but we also need to move quite quickly because we're talking about the potential compromise of the 2020 elections. And so this is not just about something that has occurred. This is about preventing a potentially disastrous outcome from occurring next year.
Congresswoman
Think about
Alexandria.
Do you hear what she's saying? She's saying that the impeachment of Donald Trump the first time around wasn't about something that had occurred. She's literally telling you that it has nothing to do with anything the president did. It is what he might do. And she's talking about winning in 2021. So we got to impeach him for what he might do, future crime. And they talk about saving the republic. And then now you got Raskins literally admitting, the guy that's managing the impeachment for the House, admitting that it is about stopping Donald Trump from ever running for public office again. It has nothing to do with it inciting insurrection or whatever they are. So I got one more quick video to play, and we're going to end the show here because I tell you, I miss Donald a great deal here at the show. And I want to, because he asked this question. Now, this was after he was acquitted on the first impeachment, but it's just as true now as it ever was. Check it out.
The Democrats have to now decide whether they will continue defrauding the public with ridiculous bullshit.
That's good enough. That's good enough. I mean, he's telling you right now, because that's what's happening with all these executive orders, with this second impeachment based on literally zero evidence. That's what they are. More ridiculous BS. How long are we going to stand for? We got to educate. We got to motivate. We got to activate ourselves and others. We got to stay plugged in. Don't get back in the pot. I hope you've enjoyed the show as much as I've enjoyed bringing it to you. Please check out our YouTube channel, John Martin Talks. Remember, www.johnmartintalks.tv. You can always see our show there. I'll pray for your family. You pray for mine. Let's pray for this nation because she needs it now more than ever. But like I say, each and every day, from my heart, from my family to yours, have a blessed day.